Started here with the Ryan Fellowship webinar. My name is Kyle Smucker. I know it says Catherine Rich under the host name, but just our staff member who has the WebEx account. I'm the program assistant at Accelerate Institute. I work in really almost every aspect of the Ryan Fellowship, from marketing and social media to recruitment, and also do support for our fellows during the fellowship year, data and assessments. Once our Ryan Fellows gone to be principals, I continue to support them in the area as well. So I do have a lot of familiarity with just every aspect of the fellowship. There'll be time for questions at the end. If you have a question during the webinar, if you could just go ahead and type it in the chat. You'll see that on the right column of your screen. You can go ahead and type in any question during the webinar, and I'll answer them when the question section at the end. Thank you. Yes, questions go there. So without further ado, I'm going to get started. We should be wrapping up around 7, doing questions around 6:50 or so Central Time, wrapping around 8 Eastern. Before into the Ryan Fellowship, I would like to give a quick introduction to Accelerate Institute. Some of you may already be familiar with the Ryan Fellowship, but I'm sure a lot of you are wondering, what is Accelerate Institute? What's the whole deal with this? So Accelerate Institute is the nonprofit that the Ryan Fellowship is a part of, an education nonprofit dedicated to closing the achievement gap. And our key strategy that we take as an organization is closing the achievement gap through transformational leadership in America's schools. One of our programs is the Ryan Fellowship, but we actually began in 1991 as Inner City Teaching Corps, the first alternative teacher certification program in Chicago. We based in Chicago, Illinois. For Teach for America was in Chicago. Started off as a program for Catholic schools, and we had them for career changers, and have had all sorts of different teaching programs. We opened our charter school, Lane Lock Charter School, in 1998 on the west side of Chicago. Some difficulty in our first few years until we found the right leader for a Lane Lock. And that's really what inspired Accelerate to start the Ryan Fellowship 10 years after we were founded with Inner City Teaching Corps. We saw the success of a great leader at a Lane Lock. The impact that she had on the school was tremendous. We had ISAT, which is the state test in Illinois. We had the highest gains of any school in the history of Illinois, and that was largely due to the impact of that school leader at a Lane Lock. We wanted to try and replicate the success that we were having at a Lane Lock through JEP. So we started the Ryan Fellowship in 2011. And we have 2 other programs, the Ryan Award, which is an award for sitting school leaders who are having a great impact in their community and their schools. Actually recommend, if any of you have work for a really outstanding school leader, to nominate them for the Ryan Award. It doesn't have to be a charter school, any sort of school, just Catholic. We really just look for principals across the country who are doing great things. So that's the Ryan Award. And most recent program is the Accelerator in 2015. This is similar to the Ryan Fellowship, but it's for sitting principals who are leaders. and we provide advisory support for school leaders through the Accelerator. So into this model, this is our 4 programs. First, I'm going to be talking about the Ryan Fellowship. So why did we start the Ryan Fellowship? We saw that impact at Lane Locke, and there are many studies that show that highly effective principals can account for up to 25% of a student's learning. A highly effective principal can affect student achievement between 2 and 7 months of learning in a single school year. All right, there are a lot of different studies that have different statistics like this. I'm sure you all have experienced the impact that a school leader can have in your own work. The reason we wanted to start the Ryan Fellowship is I work in autonomous schools, typically charter schools, high needs charter schools, and just didn't see the landscape of preparation programs absolutely preparing people to hit the ground running as a school leader and really transform schools that they're leading. Master's degree programs will give you great pedagogy and best practices, but don't always concentrate so much on leadership development and having that hands-on field study experience where you're actually working in a school and building the skills that you'll be able to practice as a school leader. And the follow-up, the advisory support, I'll talk about later, but the Fellowship provides a tremendous amount of advisory support, and we support our Ryan Fellows after they actually become school leaders. So we don't, just kind of them fly and do this after they're done. We actually really make sure that our Ryan Fellows are successful for completion of the first year of our program. So to turn it over here to Tom McPherson, who is a Ryan Fellow, just to show the first couple seconds of this video here, and he's going to talk about what it means to be a Ryan Fellow.
The appeal most of the Ryan Fellowship. The Ryan Fellowship looks at the school district or principal as the CEO. So it's focusing on what exact curriculum to use for reading, for example, using a template for coaching. Ryan Fellowship looks at how do you become a great leader, a transformational leader in a school, because that's a defining factor of success for students.
So what's said there, if you didn't catch it, and was getting at in the previous slide, instead of looking at pedagogy and curriculum, we really look at leadership and what it means to be a school leader, and how to create a culture of success in your school. He goes later to artists in the video. He says, to be a Ryan Fellow means you've been through a rigorous process of development so that you're ready to step in and lead to success on day one. That was Tom McPherson. He's a principal at Florida Kansas Achievement Elementary, which is a Scholar Academy school in Memphis, Tennessee, which is our current biggest region. I'm geared towards current teachers, and I want to provide some information to you all about the type of experience that we look for in a Ryan Fellow and the type of experiences that you should do if you're interested in pursuing the Ryan Fellowship. We do for instructional experts. We consider Rose to be the instructional leader of their school. We do have a bar for instructional knowledge. Typically have about 5 years of teaching. We require at least 3. And at least 1 year of leading adults, managing adults directly, supervising teachers. These roles are typically assistant principal roles or director of instruction roles. Sometimes it can be instructional coaches, lead teacher type of roles, depending on the experience that's involved in that role. We require Ryan Fellows to have experience in low-income schools. The qualitative things we look for are folks who are strategic thinkers, leaders, folks that have a growth mindset that are interested in growing and learning, and effective communicators. Program components now of the Ryan Fellowship. So every year the Ryan Fellowship starts in July at the Kellogg School of Management, a part of Northwestern University in Evanston, Illinois. That's north of Chicago. For 4 weeks, our Ryan Fellows stay in Evanston and have 4 weeks of instruction and bring them to go out into the field. We partner with a pretty wide variety of speakers from the education sector, of course, but also from the private sector and from the civic sector. We really think that leadership got to learn in leadership studies from all sectors. We do have a wide variety of speakers that come in. Some examples of speakers that we have come up to Kellogg are Paul Bambrick, who I'm sure many of you are familiar with Uncommon Schools. Cass, who is author of Cage Busting Leadership. We have educational leaders like Chantel Wright from Achievement Prep. Tim Kane, who is a Ryan Award winner and a principal here in Chicago. We have sector leaders like Gary McCarthy from the Chicago Police Department, and as well as private sector leaders like Brian Keeler at Belly Sandwich Works. 4 pretty intensive weeks of the Ryan Fellows are looking at Kellogg School of Management in July. Following Kellogg, or during Kellogg, Ryan Fellows are learning the Accelerate framework, and this is really the 3 cornerstones of our curriculum, of our academic foundation. This cornerstone is transformational leadership, and we look at what it takes to create an environment that can catalyze change. The cornerstone are the academic accelerators. These are more kind of granular aspects. Once you have that environment, that strong culture, what are the key things that school leaders should be focusing on during the day, during their work day? What are 20% of the activities driving 80% of school achievement? That's something called the 80-20 rule that we taught a lot here at the Ryan Fellowship. Stone is really getting down more to the specific instructional techniques of how to develop high-impact teachers or belt teachers. This is when we're really looking at the specific strategies and structures that Ryan Fellows will be using as school leaders to improve their teaching staff and really create help support and create the best teachers that they have at their school to accelerate student achievement. Accelerate Summer Institute Ryan Fellows are paired up with their Ryan Fellowship advisors. Phenomenal staff of advisors here at the Ryan Fellowship are assigned to Ryan Fellows depending on the Ryan Fellows' strengths and growth areas. We really have a thoughtful process of pairing these Ryan Fellows with our advisors to make sure that they will complement each other and work together well. And it's an important relationship the Ryan Fellows have for 3 years as a fellow during field study year, and then for 2 years once they become a principal. During the first year, Ryan Fellows are in contact with advisors weekly over the phone, and then in constant communication overall, and et cetera. Ryan, the advisors also do 3 in-person visits a year with their advisees. So field study, this is a 6-month field study. Fellows are placed at a field study school where they are essentially a member of the leadership team at that school. We likely do a thoughtful placement with advisors. We also do a thoughtful placement with field study sites. Identify schools in the Ryan Fellows region. Fellows do apply for a specific region and where they're intending to school lead in the future. Place the Ryan Fellows at a field study site. And again, this is a thoughtful placement where we are making sure that the Ryan Fellow will have his or her strengths and growth areas commented by the school and really be able to thrive and get hands dirty and make an impact at the school and learn a lot on the way. During the field study, Ryan Fellows are completing different action research projects at their school, and this leads to the leadership playbook. The leadership playbook is we compare it to a master's thesis, but it's really more of a working that Ryan will be able to take to their school following their field study and really use it as the foundation of the leadership strategy as a principal. So this is a tested playbook that they've tested in the field, and they often become the kind of foundational Hansen documents of their school when they go on to lead the school. Fellows do defend their playbook like you would do a sort of a thesis defense in Chicago to a panel of school leaders and to our advisors. After we make a decision if we're going to recommend the Ryan Fellow for school leadership, Ryan Fellows then go through a process just like you would for any job. With a lot of support for them with our network and with interview support. We make sure that Ryan Fellows are aware of all the positions in their region and will be the best fit for them as a school leader. And we're happy to say that 100% of the past 2 classes have received at least one principal offer. Many of them received multiple offers. Running a little late on time, so I'm going to skip through, but I will follow up with you all with materials. I have lists of the field study sites and the schools where we currently have Ryan Fellows leading. I said the Ryan Fellowship is a 3-year program. Once the Ryan Fellow is hired as a school leader, we continue to support them through advisory support. For teachers, advisory is scaled back. It's not as intensive as during the field study. It occurs, meetings occur once a month instead of once a week. And we keep the 3 times a year of meeting in person as well. Fellows also have opportunities for professional development. There are 2 times every year, one in the spring and one in the winter, where all our Ryan Fellows all come together. It's really they're great events where we can have all of our classes together and they're all, trading knowledge and get professional development together. That continues as well. So I take our Ryan Fellow offers seriously. Each Ryan Fellow works out to about a $250,000 investment. Part of that comes down to the match salary. We do match the salaries of our current salaries of our Ryan Fellows during the first year when they're in that field study. We also pay for tuition at the Kellogg School of Management and room and board as well in Evanston. So that's not something you have to worry about during the Summer Institute. I also have the 3 years of individualized advisory support, and the junior region we do sort of relocation for Ryan Fellows, travel expenses involved. We are in Memphis, Tennessee. As I said, that's our biggest region. Baton Rouge is a new region for us this year, Baton Rouge, Louisiana. So in Chicago, where our offices are, and in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. We've had regions in New York City and LA. They've become more difficult to operate in due to political climate and just the horrendous pipelines in the cities. We are exploring new regions for next year. We'll have at least one or two regions that will be announced within the next few months. A couple possible new regions are Kansas City, Denver, Colorado, Nashville, Tennessee, also looking into DC and into Minneapolis. You apply for a region when you apply for the Ryan Fellowship or multiple regions, and you're making a 3-year commitment to that region if you are accepted. So to get to some of the successes of our Ryan Fellows, our class of Ryan Fellow principals had 0.4 years of growth on their math testing and reading and math 1 year, 44% above the national average. And we also saw some good progress on Lexile, which is a measure I'm sure many of you are familiar with. We had Ryan Fellow students at or more than double their reading targets for the year. So I said, I collect data for the Ryan Fellowship and do support data analysis. It's really a great thing to be able to watch principals grow and watch the amazing stuff that they do at their schools and the impact that they have on their kids. So I have gotten through the webinar portion here. I don't know if everyone sees the chat box on the right side. If you have any questions, you can go ahead and set some of those now. There aren't any questions currently. That's fine, known as questions, but I'll certainly remain on the line here for a few minutes. If you would like to follow up with me, you all should have received an email from me with an invitation to the webinar. I am happy to answer any questions by email, or we can also set up a time to talk one-on-one. I'm happy to answer any questions that way. All right, we've got some questions coming here. I'd state licensure to practice as a school principal. That's a great question. We do not currently. We are working towards that right now. I am actually leading that process of applying for accreditation. We're working through our application right now with the Illinois Board of Higher Education. It will be within the next 2 or 3 years. I know most of you should be classroom teachers, so by the time you have leadership experience under your belt and maybe you're thinking about applying for the Ryan Fellowship, there's a good chance we may have that licensure ability. This time we do not. As I may have mentioned, Ryan Fellows were in autonomous schools. Those are typically charter schools. And depending on the state, usually licensure is not required for school leadership. It's not really an issue that we've run into so far, but we do want that validation, and we are looking for, we're applying for licensure currently. And the location began. If you're referring to the field study site, or the actual principal placement, but the field study site placement, that happens right after Summer Institute. So the first week of August, Ryan Fellow, hits the ground running at their field study site. As far as principal roles, usually attaining that principal job, that typically happens in the spring. There's a 3-4 month window when that occurs. Some Ryan Fellows will be on our payroll longer than others, depending on when they end up getting their job. But we make sure, at that point, it's quite an individualized process. So, we sure to make that a smooth transition for everyone. what administrative position when you apply for the Ryan Fellowship? So it may work in charter schools, and there are many different titles that leaders can have. And from school to school, the titles can vary. We are looking for management experience. So if you have some experience leading a team of adults at your school, I would encourage you to apply. I know this webinar is intended for classroom teachers, so if you are a current classroom teacher, I would not recommend you apply this year, but definitely for some to look for down the road. Let's for a fellow to complete the fellowship year at his or her current school. You have one very unique case this year. We are, piloting a few different models where we work directly with a school network to kind of act as a leadership pipeline for that school, where the Ryan Fellow would actually be at their school for the field study. That's a really unique situation. It's not the current model of our program. We really want our fellows to have experiences out of their current schools, really get a taste of different leadership models and cultural models. So they encourage that. So no, typically not, but some unique situations. And principal location different. But if the school is hiring at the end of the year for a principal role, I'm sure that is possible for the field to go on and become a leadership role. It really just depends on the situation. Still placement site, or it has been discontinued. We go year to year with our regions. The political landscape in different cities are always fluctuating. It's possible that New York could be a placement site next year, definitely. Last year we had we had two Ryan Fellows in New York City. And here it's just not looking like the political landscape is for us to be in New York this year. I would definitely stay tuned. We're always getting our regions. We're always looking into new regions. And we are even considering LA a strong possibility to return there. So, it's not a site this year, but it could definitely be a site next. We're a really flexible program. We're not tied down to any network or any city, although Chicago is certainly our home. And we have strong relationships in our current regions. We're always, going and looking for new opportunities. So I would encourage everyone on the webinar tonight, wherever you are in the country, consider the regions we're in now and keep an out for where we are moving in the future. As I said, we will still have two new regions that we're going to be announcing later this year. Gotten to all the questions at this point on the chat. I think we are right on the dot here at 7 p.m. Central Time. To thank everyone for listening to tonight. I really appreciate everyone taking some time out of their evening to learn more about the Ryan Fellowship and the opportunity you all have as future school leaders. If you up, please, you can email me at ksmucker@accelerate-institute.org. You should have all received an email from me. I'm also happy to set up a phone with any of you if you would like to talk more about the Ryan Fellowship. And once again, thank you for joining. And I hope to hear more from you soon. Thank you.